right, welcome everyone to our first Program Spotlight series. This Program Spotlight is going to be highlighting our mechanical engineering program. We have Dr. Kevin Skeens here to kind of give you guys a program overview, answer any questions, and then we're going to talk some more about the application process afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Skeens introduce himself. Go ahead and share his screen with you all so you can see his presentation.
All right, thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, my name is Dr. Kevin Skeens. I grew up in Augusta, Georgia. Been at the Citadel since 2014. Been the department head here at Mechanical Engineering for, let's see, I guess it was spring of 2023 was when I first took on that role. So let's see, I should be able to share in a little bit. But um, I very much enjoyed my time at the Citadel and hope that we can certainly attract everyone who's interested here as well. Okay. So, a little bit about the Mechanical Engineering College Transfer Program and NSME programs. First, I'm going to give you a little bit of history, then some of the things that are available to study, some of the resources that are available to you, and what you can do while you're here and after the fact. So first, engineering has actually been part of the Citadel since its inception in 1842. Not a lot of people realize that. However, mechanical engineering is one of the newer programs. It only started in 2014. I was one of the original professors brought here in 2014. I'm the only one of those left. But like I said, I have very much enjoyed my time here and certainly hope to see all of you here as well. The master's degree was added 2 years later in 2016, and the new and exciting part on the horizon is that we do have a new engineering building coming soon. My understanding is that it is fully funded, and we are getting ready to move forward with that. So hopefully you can be a part of that as well. The Citadel is actually the fifth oldest engineering program in the entire country, and almost a fifth of our students choose to study engineering. Of those that choose to study engineering, about 40 to 50% of those are mechanical engineering students. And one thing that I'm very proud of is that across the entire School of Engineering and Mechanical Engineering, our employment rate within 6 months of graduation is nearly 100%, something like 99.4% last time I checked. So, we are good at what we do here, and we will do a good job, as good a job as we possibly can, preparing you for the workforce after you graduate. There are 10 full-time mechanical engineering faculty. You can see our pictures here. We come from all over the country, from Georgia Tech, from University of Maryland, from Clemson, from pretty much anywhere you can think of, University of Florida. So rather than list off our entire resumes, rest assured that all 10 of us are here because we love teaching, because we want to share knowledge with you guys, and that is what we like to do. That's our passion, and we're here for you. To start off with the college transfer program, so this program is basically split into two halves, right? You'll also hear us refer to this sometimes as just the 2+2. And so the first 4 semesters of this program, or the first half of the 2+2, these courses can be taken pretty much anywhere. All right. So obviously they're most commonly going to be taken at Trident Tech from most of our students, but we can accept these courses from any institution that offers your standard English 101 type history, calculus, chemistry, biology, right? These are very commonly encountered classes, and you can take them anywhere is convenient for you. Now, do be aware that a lot of these classes are actually available at the Citadel. However, the majority of them are available only over the summer semester in a format that can be taken by non-cadets. So while, let's say that you are looking to get started, but you're still missing one math class or one physics class or something like that, you can start at the Citadel and then just take that class at the Citadel. But again, just be aware that those are only available over the summer. Also, just to, in the interest of accuracy, be aware that that circuit sequence, that electric 201, 202, and 204, we are in the process of changing that just to one class and one lab, so that might look a little, excuse me, that will look a little bit different in the near future. But for now, this is what you see. You'll notice that you've got some Englishes, some histories, humanities, fine arts, social sciences. Then of course, some of the most important sequences are going to be your math sequence, Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3. The fourth class, depending on where you take it, might be called differential equations, engineering math, or Calculus 4. But those four courses, if you don't have them, you're not going to be able to get started on the second half. In the same way, this statics and dynamics sequence over here, also very important, and the physics and circuit sequence, very important. So those are the classes, I field questions fairly frequently about, I'm not finished, can I go ahead and start? And if you're missing something like an English class, the answer is always absolutely. But if you're missing something like statics or dynamics, then that's really something you need to get taken care of before you get started. Again, fortunately, we offer those over the summer, so we can usually accommodate requests, but just be aware that, that is how that part of the curriculum works. Now, once you have finished with these first 4 semesters, all right, then you will switch over to the Citadel, which officially starts in the summer between your second and third years. All right. Now, I get questions a lot about, what do I know for sure that these courses are going to be offered? And yes, courses that are required for your degree will always be offered on schedule. You're never going to have to compete for a spot. We will always make sure that the courses are offered and that there is enough room in the classroom for you to take them on time. All right. So you'll see that the pattern is generally 2 courses in the summer, followed by 4 in the fall, 4 in the spring, and then again 2 in the summer, 4 in the fall, 4 in the spring. Now, that first fall, you'll notice that there is an extra mechanics of materials lab, Civil 307. And that is the only class that we offer on a Friday. All of the rest of them will be offered Monday through Thursday, either from 5:15 to 6:30 or from 6:45 to 8 o'clock. So we will keep your Fridays open, like I said, except for that one Civil 307. But it was either Friday or from 8:15 to 10 o'clock on one of the other days. And I mean, nobody wants that. Now, if you're looking at this, I've talked with students who, rather than doing a 2+2, are interested in taking things more slowly, more of like a 2+3 or a 2+4. And that is very easily done. I am happy to work with you on that. For anybody who applies to this program, I will also be your academic advisor. So if you have some sort of, concerns about wanting to slow down a little bit, then by all means, we're happy to work that out. We've had plenty of students who have done 2+3s instead of 2+2s. It just, requires some planning to make sure that you're taking the right courses. You don't want to save the wrong course for last and then wind up being held up by that missing class. All right. But this is the second half of the 2+2 that you will take once you have actually finished the first half and are enrolled at the Citadel. All of your classes will be taught by faculty here. You will not be taught by graduate assistants or anything like that. And like I said, we're here because we love what we do, and we certainly hope to teach you guys in the evening as well. All right. So that was the undergraduate program. The master's program, a little bit different. So for the master's program, you have to take a minimum of 10 courses. This usually takes, what we typically recommend is that students take 2 master's classes in the fall, 2 in the spring, and then 1 in the summer. All right. So if you go with that pattern, then that will take you exactly 2 years, right? So summer, fall, spring, and you're done. Now you can certainly accelerate that a little bit if you're feeling aggressive and want to move through quickly. Then you can take more than 2 classes. More than 2 classes in the fall and spring, or more than 1 class over the summer. That's perfectly fine. Just do be aware that it's very easy to bite off more than you can chew. So, I learned that lesson myself the hard way. I'd say it's certainly better to start off slow and work your way up to a appropriate workload than try to jump in with both feet and both hands immediately and get get in uh, cold dose of reality or something like that. But be aware that we do accept courses transferred in from other institutions. There is a limit of 2, with the exception of Clemson. We have an agreement that allows up to 5 from there. But this is typically a non-thesis master's. All right. So if you're looking for a true research-based master's program, that's not really what we do here. We don't really have the bandwidth to support that, but we do have research opportunities. And if you're interested in those, then you may work with a professor for up to 2 course credits. That's, of course, going to be dependent on whether or not your interests align with the professor's interest and the professor is willing to, sponsor you with that. But we have had students take that route as well. Now, of the 10 courses that you take, you see that 6 of them must be what we call core classes or mechanical engineering classes. The remaining 4 are what we call electives. You can take 4 more mechanical engineering classes, you can take civil engineering classes, electrical engineering classes, physics classes, right? Or we have also what we call a list of approved non-technical electives. Those come from the School of Business, the School of Leadership, and the School of Engineering Leadership and Program Management. A very common route that students choose for that one is what you see with our third bullet point here, is that if you take um, the four project management classes, then you can actually get your technical project management certificate as well as your master's in mechanical engineering, and you'll be set up pretty well to take the PMP certification exam if that's the direction you want to try to take your career. Most courses are offered on the same schedule as the CTP classes. What I mean by that is that they will be in the evening from those same time slots that I mentioned earlier, either 5:15 to 6:30 or from 6:45 to 8 o'clock. We are in the process of moving all of our master's program courses into a hybrid or high flex status, so that should give you some flexibility. You will not be required to be on campus every single time. If you want to be, that is certainly acceptable. But if you're looking for a little bit of flexibility, you have that as well. And there are some courses that will be cross-leveled with senior bachelor's courses, which means that, in fact, I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. So there we go, a remote or a hybrid course. The bottom bullet point here I want to call out. So if you are in the undergraduate CTP program and you're considering possibly going for your master's degree, we do have an accelerated master's program that our undergraduate students are welcome to apply to. Basically, what that means is instead of your senior electives your senior year, you can take some master's classes as well to get a jump start on that. So if get a year into your undergraduate degree and you're thinking, I'm really enjoying this stuff, I think I'm going to stick around for master's, then come talk to me and we can see if you can get enrolled in the accelerated master's program. Now, we do have what we call 5 focus areas that we generally, you can take classes in one of these focus areas. For your master's degree, you are not required to take a certain amount of classes from each focus area. You're just looking for, again, 6 mechanical engineering classes. But we certainly hope that of these areas, you find the one that you are the most passionate about, or that you understand the most, or that you think is the coolest, and take classes from there so that you actually enjoy getting your degree instead of having to drag yourself through stuff that you're not really enjoying. All right. So then let's say you finish your undergraduate or your master's degree and now you're in the work field. And a lot of times I get the question, what do I do with a mechanical engineering degree? And the answer is just about whatever you want. All right. So obviously there are the stereotypical mechanical engineering jobs like working with planes, working with cars. But depending on what field of study you decided to get into, I mean, mechatronics, what you see here with the robotic hand, working those metal spheres there. Mechatronics is a huge field right now. You see the fluid flow and the protective material with the bullet tests happening at the top right. Also, very important field. Power and energy can mean anything from solar power to nuclear power to gas power to power distribution grids. And then, of course, you have your common planes, trains, and automobiles. And that's just the engineering related jobs. We have plenty of mechanical engineers that have gone on to get jobs in fields that are not mechanical engineering. And what I will always say is that if you're not sure you want a career in mechanical engineering, it is always easy to get a degree in mechanical engineering and then have a career in another field. It is very difficult to get a degree in not mechanical engineering and then try to have a mechanical engineering career. So, if you're not sure, but you like problem solving, come get a mechanical engineering degree with us. We will teach you how to solve problems. And then once you graduate, what type of problems you want to solve, that's up to you. You want to go be a doctor, you want to go be a lawyer, you want to get your MBA, that's your business, but we will set you up for solving problems. So hopefully that quick overview helps. Just as a final, want to mention that there are some resources available if you have extra questions. You can reach out to me. There's my email address, or the mechanical engineering program coordinator is Miss Sarah Cow. There's her email address right there. You can always check the college catalogs and the mechanical engineering webpage. And if you want to try to put together a sample schedule, the registrar will always have the entire schedule of courses posted for you to look at for any given year. There's also plenty of other resources available that I've included at that last bullet point there. Um, and again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either me or someone in admissions, and they will be happy to point you in the right direction. So that is all that I have for you today. And if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to take them now.
Um, One of the questions that I wanted to ask was, what are some of the important qualities that you look for in your applicants?
Absolutely. Excellent question. So, if you're for what we're looking for in applicants, we're looking for obviously someone who so I always say this carefully. You don't have to love math, right? But you have to be at least comfortable with math, right? Because the thing is, math is the language of engineering. And so, in the same way that no one gets excited, okay, I won't say no one, most people don't get excited about, when you go to class and you're like, okay, we're talking about grammar and spelling today. Most people don't say, yes, I love this stuff. But at the same time, if you don't know grammar and spelling, then you're going to have a hard time communicating. It's the same thing with math and engineering. If you're not at least comfortable with math, if you can't speak the math language, you're going to struggle with engineering because that is, that's the language of engineering. And so you don't have to love math, but you have to at least be comfortable with it. And then we're also just looking to, see that you've been making steady progress. All right. We're not looking, it's okay if you don't have a perfect 4.0 GPA. We're just looking to see that, that someone who applies has worked their way through the first half of the program, been diligent and sticking with it, completing their courses. Because if you're here, if you're willing to put in the work, then we are willing to help you out. So those are the two main ones I would say.
Absolutely. If someone doesn't have a degree for their undergrad in any sort of engineering field, are they able to apply for the master's?
Yes, so we have taken master's applicants from non-engineering fields. That's going to depend a little bit on what math you have taken. So, for example, if you have not had any calculus and you apply to the master's program, what I'm probably going to do is respond with something along the lines of, hey, clearly, you're smart and you know what you're doing, but if you don't have any calculus exposure, you're going to struggle. So what I'd recommend is either at the Citadel or Trident Tech taking some calculus classes before you get into the master's program. So I have given that feedback to students before. In fact, I've got one student right now. He's in the process of finishing Calculus 3 and Calculus 4 so he can get into the master's program in the fall. But yes, no, you do not have to have a mechanical engineering specific degree to get into the mechanical engineering master's program.
Would you be able to speak on some of the different hands-on experiences that students get while in the programs?
Absolutely. So, I'm going to focus on the undergraduate program here because the graduate program varies pretty widely depending on whether or not you do research and what classes you choose to take. But as an undergraduate, yes, there's plenty of hands-on experience. Obviously, let's see if I can. So, if you go and you look at the curriculum map, you'll see that a lot of classes are listed as with lab. All right, so you see measurements and instrumentation with lab. You'll see thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, mechatronics, manufacturing. A lot of these classes have with lab with them, and so we really want to get you guys hands-on experience in as many of these classes as possible for two reasons. One, because again, sure, you've got to sit in a classroom and look at a whiteboard and look at some equations to learn some of the things. That's just the way it goes. But here's the thing about those equations is sure this is can be the equations will tell you how things will work theoretically, but it turns out in the real world that we occupy sometimes those equations break down. And so what we really want you to have is not just the theoretical knowledge of what you saw on the whiteboard, but also the real world hands-on knowledge of okay, now let's actually try this out and see what happens. And then if the result that you get in your experiment doesn't match what the equation predicted, let's talk about why. And so you'll get a whole bunch of hands-on experience with labs in different classes. We'll teach you how to use common machine shop equipment. in your manufacturing class. When you get to senior design, you'll have 2 semesters to basically design and build a functional prototype of a problem that you've chosen how to solve. So, we love hands-on experience and we try to get you as much of it as possible.
Absolutely. Does anybody else that is in here have any questions? We're going to talk a little bit about the application process and then we'll let you guys go. But feel free to drop any extra questions in the chat. Again, very accessible via email as well.
So Dr. Skeens, we hear often that Charleston is a hotbed for engineering in the STEM field, and a lot of companies are making Charleston home. What I want to know is what companies are actually in the Charleston area, and how's the Citadel in the mix with that?
Absolutely. So, Charleston has over the past couple of decades turned into especially a manufacturing centric area. If you look at some of our recent graduates, they have gone to places like SAIC, NIWIC, which was formerly Speyor. We have graduates at Boeing. We have graduates at Volvo. I think we still have graduates at Daimler. Can't remember that off the top of my head. And those are just the big guys, right? There are also plenty of smaller companies around town that we're very close with that offer internships and full-time employment opportunities. We also have a lot of connections with some of the power grid and the utilities companies like Santee Cooper, Duke Energy. They're usually looking to hire some Citadel engineering graduates as well. And then, of course, there are Citadel graduates who have started programs around the country that are always interested in hiring other Citadel graduates. Just use another random example, right? There's a company that builds conveyor belts and manufacturing equipment out in Arkansas that's always looking for interns and full-time hires. So there are lots of companies in the area, lots of companies that we have connections with. There's a reason why we have something like a 99.4% employment rate, right? Because we 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 graduate good graduates and people want them. So thank you.
Absolutely. So the next step, if you haven't already applied, it's going to be to go ahead and start your application. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code that takes you directly to our application hub. You can enter the code GODOGS to waive the application fee, so you don't have to pay anything to apply. And then after filling out the application, you'll be able to upload any supplemental items. This could be ordering your official transcripts, ID, any other supplemental items. And then again, if you have any questions, our team is always available to help. The application timeline is pretty quick turnaround. The department does review the mechanical engineering applicants, so they're able to push those along pretty quickly for us. So again, request your official transcripts, upload any required materials, typically 5 to 10 business days turnaround for an admissions decision. If we need anything from you, we'll definitely reach out as well. And then if you have any questions, again, definitely reach out to us. We have different enrollment coordinators and people from our office that work with specific populations, but any of us are available to help at any time. My name is Courtney. We also have Shelby in our office, Fred and Greg that help us out with the students. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, Dr. Skeens, for being on today and kind of sharing more about your program. Very valuable information. We appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Fred, and thank you any other CGC folks that I don't see on online but are currently online. So I appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.